Brian.
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, it's all right, dude. I'm shooting this new show for Facebook, and I want to do this like a Chinese takeout episode. I'm just burnt right now. Have you? Yeah. What is your exposure to Chinese takeout? Do you have anything?
I love it. My first job was actually working at a Mandarin place in Sonoma, the little town I grew up in, and it was actually next to the grocery store, so it's good Chinese food when it's in like a mini mall, I was 15 and it was the first job, and when people are cursing you in another language, and even though you don't know that language, you can tell that you're the subject of ridicule. My big hint was I had just dropped a dish, and then I would hear the owner raise her voice and kind of, tilt her head over at me while she was saying something in Mandarin. Stupid white boy sounds like stupid white boy in whatever language you're using, really. I didn't turn into Hodor size till I got out of high school. I grew 8 inches. And then you think I was scary white guy before, then I was a monster after that. I used to do prank calls all the time. So there would be times when I would be doing regular calls and I would just slip into prank mode. It was down here, we had moved to the valley, and I was living with a couple of friends in Encino. My wife was there. It was when we were first starting to date. It was about 20 years ago. A bunch of friends were in the room and I'm like, okay, I'll order Chinese. And I couldn't order Mongolian beef the right way. I kept saying Mongoloid beef. So the person on the other phone hears all these kids laughing and just hung up on me, of course. Then I had to call back and go, hey, I was the guy that just placed that order. And they're like, you don't prank us, and they're really mad. And I was like, no, I'm not pranked. And then I couldn't drop it. My wife said, and you wouldn't stop. Because then I called back and I go, we want sweet and sour pork. We want shrimp fried rice. We want another order of pineapple fried rice and 2 orders of Mongoloid beef. And I kept saying Mongoloid beef. My friends were losing it. I had a room full of comedians that I knew. Hey, I finally found this riff that they're all laughing at. I think I got hung up on a second time, and then I had to call it, and we ordered orange chicken and lo mein.
That's rad, dude. For you, I'm gonna make you orange chicken and lo mein, and probably not make Mongoloid beef, because I don't know if that's gonna play.
I don't think anybody wants Mongoloid beef.
A comic master, Brian Posehn. Yo, thanks a lot, Brian. I appreciate it, dude. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, so let's get started with the most iconic Chinese takeout dish, which is obviously orange chicken. Now, the attack plan is gonna be this. Always make your sauces first so they can cook and cool. Then go to vegetable prep, and always finish with raw meats, because if you do it that way, you don't have to worry about all this cross-contamination and cleaning up and resetting again. This iconic sauce is really like a glaze. You want enough sugar in it so it's got a nice amount of sweetness, and you want the acid there from the vinegar. I'm gonna shut the f up now and make this sauce. Firstly, orange juice, sugar, oyster sauce, hoisin sauce, which is gonna give you some sweet, some soy notes there, soy sauce, vinegar, paprika, and here's an old school Chinese restaurant trick, a little bit of red food coloring. This is gonna give you that awesome boost that's gonna make this orange chicken just pop right off the plate and look super delicious. So that's gonna come to a boil. Once the sugar dissolves and all the ingredients come together, I'm gonna add the cornstarch slurry in, and that's orange chicken sauce. So in terms of veg prep, pretty simple. I've only got 4 items. With garlic, I'm always cutting garlic the exact same way. I'm gonna smash it flat with my knife, and then just do one tight pass, like an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch pass one way, give that a quarter turn, and then another pass the other way. Next, ginger. Once you've shaved off all those little ends, square it off, and then I'm just gonna take my knife and kind of shave off the skin. If you remember my little rhyme, a tile becomes a slice becomes a dice. You'll be able to cut just about anything. For the ginger here, I'm just gonna cut it into little tiles, lay them on top of each other to make little slices. And this is called that blades of grass cut. and that's it. For onion, peel in half. And check it out, once you've peeled off the skin and you've left the root, you kind of have something to hold on to. So I'm gonna go from the bottom halfway up the onion, not going all the way through, and then 3/4 inch this way. And because you left that little handle, in 3 movements, you have a large diced onion. Cut your scallions in half first, always, and then just put a little bias on it, a little angle on it, while that onion burns the crap out of my eyes, but it's okay. So Tad picks like the shittiest onions, so I sit there and I cry on camera. Jerk right there. That's the jerk who preps all the food. All right, so let's go chicken. I've got some chicken thighs, and I want to take these chicken thighs into like 1-inch cubes. You want them substantial enough to pick them up with, you know, your fork or your chopsticks. So in terms of prep, that's it. I mean, that is it. You are prepped out within 5 minutes here. I'm gonna wash my hands before we move on here. I wore my sexy pants for you so you can see, you know, so you get a nice little shot when Mike likes that. He loves that yeah. So I've got my chicken, right? And I've got 2 piles of tempura flour. One is going to be for dredging. The other one is actually for the batter. So I'll make my batter first, just a little bit of water into this tempura flour. So what I'm looking for is like a very thick, heavy cream kind of consistency, right? Where if I pull this away, it's gonna continue to run and not stick to the whisk. Frying oil, make sure you use a neutral oil like peanut, canola, sunflower. The tip I have for you is actually the chopstick tip. You know those chopsticks that are left over from all your takeout that you order? Pull a clean one of those, insert it into the hot oil, and once it looks like the chopstick is actually frying, when you see all those bubbles around it, that's when you know the oil temperature is right. I'm gonna throw all the nuggets into the batter, swim them really well, make sure every piece is covered but not sticking together. Make sure you get the excess batter off and then right into the fryer. You want each one individual, so when you toss it in the sauce, they each get some individual sauce love. That's gonna go for about 6 to 8 minutes. You want what we call GBD, that's golden brown and delicious. It's totally okay if you have pieces that are not the same size. So the chicken is GBD, it's golden brown and delicious. Make sure you strain out as much oil as you can from the fryer, and then distribute it out on those paper towels. And you wanna make sure each piece has a little room so they don't steam up and you lose your crispiness. So these are done. I'm ready to stir fry it all together now. I'm using my Dutch oven today as my wok. Get that heated up. And I'm just gonna put about a tablespoon or 2 of oil in there. I can use the frying oil that I got here because it's got all that chickeny deliciousness in it. Once I've hit a really scant amount of white smoke, I'm gonna put all my veggies in except for the scallions. I just want to give it a toss with the ginger and garlic, just get a little bit of heat, and all their essential oils start to kind of perfume this dish. Chicken goes in. You're gonna want to keep your heat really high because when the sauce hits the pan, you want the coating of the chicken to happen really fast so you don't lose any crispiness of those nuggets. And all I'm worried about right now, because everything is cooked through, is coating the nuggets. The heat of the pan is gonna reduce that sauce to even more of a delicious glaze. And right before plating, I'll turn the heat off. You want to serve this dish pretty much right away because those nuggets are still really crispy. They've been coated beautifully by this sauce. And then a little bit of scallion, and I'm good to go. There you have it, my version of orange chicken. Lo mein is definitely one of my favorite Chinese takeout dishes. My game plan with stir fry is always the same. Make the sauce, get it out of the way, do some knife work on some vegetables and chicken, and go right into the cooking. If you find a stir fry recipe you really love, multiply that by 5 or 10, stick it in a squeeze bottle, and you've just made your own stir fry sauce. To make mine, super simple. I'm starting with a little chicken stock as the base. And I've always got a little bit of chicken stock that I've made always hanging out in my freezer. Soy sauce, sesame oil, just for some aromatic, and finally, oyster sauce. I stir this together, and I've just made lo mein sauce. Okay, knife work. Ginger, right into that kind of 1/8-inch blades of grass cut. Next, garlic. So don't overthink it. Nice flat smash, and then 2 1/8-inch passes. So the primary vegetable here is gonna be baby bok choy. Make sure you can pick it up with a chopstick. I basically do a little bias slant on the knife, maybe into thirds or quarters. Finally, scallions, line them all up. And then you're gonna do a bias cut. And lastly, we've got chicken. So I'm gonna find the grain on this piece of chicken breast, cut it in half, so it's kind of 2 to 3 inches wide with the grain. And then I'm gonna find the grain, cut it against the grain on an angle and cut it into tiles. That's it, I am ready to cook. Just using enough to coat the bottom, waiting for a little bit of white smoke. I'm going in with garlic and ginger. You should be hearing that shh, that sear all the time. Chicken's going in. So I'm moving the chicken around. So a nice sear, almost rare to medium rare is good. So in terms of noodles, I'm using a fresh lo mein noodle. You can use a dry noodle, but make sure to boil it off like pasta before. Anything you put into the pan, make sure it gets a nice little sear from the pan. The Chinese call this wok hei, the breath of the wok. Bok choy goes in. Some of my bigger scallions, not those fine scallions, but the larger scallions. And I'm gonna give that a few seconds to kind of, get some sear on it, get a little wok hei on it. And I know once the sauce hits the pan, it's gonna start to bubble and boil, and that's gonna create a steaming of all the items in there. All I'm really looking for now is the doneness of the chicken. Your job as a stir-fry chef is to basically make sure nothing sticks to the pan, so scrape really well, and then turn the food over so the stuff that's not getting that pan love goes to the bottom. So that's it. My lo mein is done. I'm gonna plate up, and I like to pile it really high, and I'll leave the delicious bits like chicken and bok choy for the top. Don't forget your little pieces of scallion because that's the finish to the dish. Those little pieces that make your dish look beautiful. So there it is, Cantonese lo mein in minutes. I hope you enjoyed our lo mein and orange chicken, and we'll see you next time on Authentically Asian.